name is Mike Jordan, and I modeled the Santa Maria Valley Railroad in a 12 by 20 room double deck. And I was asked to give a quick layout tour. So the Santa Maria Valley Railroad is interchanges with the Southern Pacific at Guadalupe, California, which is halfway between Los Angeles, San Francisco, or San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara. And it's a existing short line railroad that serves the town of Santa Maria and the Santa Maria Valley, and of course industries in Guadalupe. I modeled 1955, not quite August 2nd at 2 o'clock, but just the general 50s modeling. And so in designing the railroad, I figured out that I could create a lower level staging that would represent both Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo, and then using a ramp system rather than helix to connect the two levels. And we'll have trains running here in a little bit and show you how that connection works. In setting up the design of the railroad, it operated for probably about 3 or 4 years, and we were able to figure out how to put a modular unit that plugs into the railroad during operations. So I'm going to step in the other room and point out the module. So you can see the module plugs into the railroad. I'm in the laundry room, and I've used a backdrop just to screen the dirty laundry from my operators. I read a book written by Mr. Signor, and it's called The Pacific Coast Lines, and it's a picture book. But in describing Salinas, California, there was multiple packing districts, and they named them Tokyo, New York, Chicago. And so I thought this would be a great idea. So I created my own packing district. And so this represents 4 different packing plants, some agricultural support services, fuel, soil conditioners, and just a public dock that can take any type of car. So this is kind of a switching puzzle, and as you can see, quite a few refrigerator cars. And this is thanks to Tony Thompson. When he wrote his book, it triggered that people do coal and iron ore, but I've never seen a layout that kind of uses just refrigerator cars as its main source of entertainment. And so I move 50% refrigerator cars and 50% general freight. So here's a little packing district. It's 2 feet by 6 feet. It's on casters. When I'm not using it, it rolls into the layout room. And it takes about 90 minutes to switch out this district, and then we swap whoever has this job with the active staging yard master, which we'll describe a little bit later in the quick video. So this is it. So when I was in the other room talking about the packing plant module, I mentioned the word active staging. So I thought this would be a good time to show the lower level, which really is dedicated to staging. And so this group of tracks represents Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo, and the trains move geographically north and south, but Southern Pacific called them east and west. So if it went toward San Francisco, it was westbound, and anything leading away from San Francisco is eastbound. So the trains are made up with the standard car cards and waybills. The difference is that I only give the waybill to the yard master, and he has to find the appropriate car in the yard and then find the car card and insert, and then makes up the trains for departure that way. Rather than pre-staging the trains, the yard master actually makes the trains up. And as you can see, it's a combination of reefers and general freight. Reefers don't have a standard waybill. They have a single-use car card and waybill combination, and we keep track of the movements with a hole punch. So every time a car moves from one stage to the next, we keep track of it with a hole punch rather than check mark or turning the waybill. So to show off the railroad, I think I'll just run some trains, and we'll follow the trains through the railroad, and then that'll give us a chance to see what the layout looks like, kind of piecemeal. So we'll run a train from the town of Santa Maria down to Guadalupe, and then we'll run what was called Old Smoky, which was a train that ran out of San Luis Obispo headed south, and it picked up refrigerator cars and ended up in LA and then headed east out of Los Angeles. So every afternoon about 4 o'clock, the Santa Maria Valley Railroad would have to bring their cars down to Guadalupe. About 9 in the evening, the Old Smoky would arrive, pick it up, and then carry the cars southward. So we'll run the Santa Maria Valley first, and then Old Smoky second. The afternoon reefer train is made up in the town of Santa Maria, and it's going to run down to Guadalupe to meet Old Smoky, the Southern Pacific sweeper sweep that starts in San Luis Obispo and heads down to Los Angeles. Santa Maria Valley Railroad did have street running through the town of Santa Maria that has now been abandoned, but in the 50s trains, cars, and people all used the same space. The structure on the left is the pre-cooling plant where loaded cars were set to cool the loads down. This is sun-kissed packing district, and then in the background, the dark building is Sears warehouse. In the foreground is Farmer Supply, and then the sawtooth roof building is Ingle Gray for oil products, and then this is Calco's packing plant, packs and ships just about any kind of product and produce. Here's Old Smoky heading southbound or east, out into the active staging yard and running up along the coastline. The actual coastline was a little further south, but this kind of places the railroad in the Southern California area. And as you can see, the train is slowly climbing through a ramp rather than a helix system to connect the lower and upper levels of the railroad. Alright, we've gotten clearance from the Santa Maria or the Guadalupe yard to bring the Santa Maria Valley into their yard to pull out the refrigerator cars that were brought down into Guadalupe. So once we're all connected and the air's been pumped, the Old Smoky heads south to Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, and then points eastward. Here you can see the train coming down the ramp that connects the two levels of the layout rather than a helix. We'll end up coming through the same surf scene that we started. At this point there's a crossover with two turnouts, and if the turnouts are turned correctly I can have continuous running on the railroad. But this will bring us down into Santa Barbara, and this is where the train will terminate. The cars will be shuffled back into the active staging yard for reassignment once the train arrives into Santa Barbara. So after dropping off the afternoon refrigerator cars, there's a cut of cars waiting in the yard to be returned back to Santa Maria. So we're going to pick this cut up and run back into Santa Maria for the late evening shift. We don't do any switching until we get back to the yard. And here we are arriving back in the Santa Maria yard, and the train will be broken down, and cars will be spotted and picked up at this point. So thank you for watching the video on the Santa Maria Valley Railroad in the cold reaches of Minnesota.